who? It's your boy Nando. We back with another video. Me estamos para atrás con otro video, señores. Ya ustedes saben que lo que es. Make sure like, comment, subscribe, like, comente, comparte. Estamos aquí with another video, man. With another motherfucking banger, man. Wait, ya ustedes saben que lo que by the title. You already see by the title, nigga. The craziest way cartel traffic drugs, nigga. I already said it. Yo siempre lo digo. That's how I try to speak both languages at once. So if you're new to the channel, man, roll to 3,000. Make sure y'all hit that button. But come on, bro. Police trying to stop that shit. That's a business that's never gonna stop. Es un negocio que nunca en mi vida, nunca se va a acabar. Ustedes saben. La policía ese tío, eso nunca se va a acabar. Pero no tengo que decir más nada. Roll to 3,000, man. If y'all haven't hit that button, man. Let's just hop straight to the video. Yo. Mira, yo no sabía de esa, ¿no? That's crazy.
Smuggled in this delicious fruit was cocaine.
What do watermelons, submarines, and sex toys all have in common? They've all been used to smuggle drugs. And that's just the beginning. In September of 1985, a smuggler named Andrew Thornton II was flying hundreds of kilos of cocaine from Colombia into the United States. However, Thornton got worried that the authorities were tracking his flight, so he dumped hundreds of pounds of blow down into the forests of Georgia and jumped out of his plane with a parachute.
Andrew Thornton.
Mira, yo no sabía de esa leyenda. Déjame buscarlo. I didn't even know about that, man. I don't know, funny shit. I didn't even know.
To his death carrying two.
But it's like, I always feel like, yo siempre creo, cuando agarran cuando ellos cogen un avión chiquito, el más grande siempre está por atrás. When they capture this chip, the one with the most cocaine is going around. Ustedes saben. I seen that. I don't know. Ustedes saben. I just feel. I don't know. Eso como un negocio. That's a business. That's a thing that's never gonna stop. Es un negocio que nunca en mi vida se va a acabar. Ustedes saben. Siempre va a haber alguien traficando drogas. Siempre. Oh, wait, what's his name?
The United States. However, Thornton got worried that the authorities were tracking his flight, so he dumped hundreds of pounds of blow down into the forests of Georgia and jumped out of his plane with a parachute.
Andrew Thornton fell to his death carrying too heavy of a load of cocaine while parachuting.
Unfortunately for Thornton, his parachute malfunctioned and his body was later discovered along with 75 pounds of cocaine, a couple of handguns, and thousands of dollars in cash. Much of the cocaine, however, ended up being found and eaten by a huge bear. And this story has now become the inspiration for a Hollywood movie.
It's a tale of drugs, planes, parachutes, and one unlucky bear.
This is how drug smuggling has gone from a few guys.
You want to know something funny? The ad before this video was that movie that they about to put out with him. The bear that ate the fucking cocaine and went crazy.
The desert on mules to a sophisticated multi-billion-dollar industry, and the most inventive ways traffickers have managed to move their drugs around the world.
Millions of dollars worth of cocaine fell from the sky this morning.
Let's watch it together.
We should go.
What's wrong with that bear? Cocaine bear, rated R.
That's the one I'm talking about.
Since the very beginning of the war on drugs, traffickers have faced one big problem: how to get prohibited drugs from producer to seller to buyer. Luckily, drug cartels are incredibly innovative.
Lo que les dije, estoy haciendo un vuelo con 55 kilos ya listos para su exportación. Tenía muy buenas habilidades como deportista y ya esta es mi vida.
But the roots of international drug trafficking are a lot more basic than recruiting champion paragliders to fly bricks of coke over the rainforest. Though the war on drugs goes all the way back to 1914, the golden age of drug smuggling really began in the late 1970s and 80s. And it was largely driven by one thing: cocaine.
I thought it was money.
It was the challenge of getting cocaine from the mountains of South America to the nostrils and crack pipes of the USA, which transformed drug trafficking into the most profitable organized criminal enterprise in history.
In the world. And it still is today in today's world. Today.
illicit drugs market is the biggest in the world, worth annually more than $80 billion.
Eso nunca, es un negocio que nunca en mi vida se va a acabar. Eso puede generaciones por ahora y todavía va a estar esa vaina.
Federal authorities intercepted 7,000 pounds of cocaine, 3 times the amount seized the previous year.
This was the era of the so-called cocaine cowboys, who flooded Florida with drugs from South America using boats, planes, and often human stomachs, and yes, rectums.
The drug smuggling operation is highly organized, and there are plenty of people prepared to risk imprisonment for the large amounts of money offered by the dealers. Some will even go through the uncomfortable process of swallowing plastic bags filled with narcotics, something that can end in death if the bags burst.
So-called drug...
If that shit breaks, doesn't your body absorb all that shit? Oh my God, them people is
are most often impoverished people who are either paid or violently coerced by cartels to swallow or insert packages of illicit drugs and smuggle them on commercial flights. And when this goes wrong, the consequences can be deadly.
If you're carrying some mule packets of cocaine and one ruptures, the acute powder of cocaine is rapidly absorbed. It creates a disaster in your stomach. The first thing they usually feel is muscle contraction, pain. Then they complain of chest pain because now the heart's starting to be affected.
But there's no way cartels...
Imagine, it's a whole bag. It's not even like just a line, it's a whole bag. If one line can affect someone, si una línea le puede afectar a alguien, just imagine a whole bag.
Could supply the endless market for illicit drugs just through people's digestive tracts. The majority of the cocaine cowboys operated fleets of small planes and boats, going from South America to the US, often through bases in the Bahamas.
A $100,000 cruiser with 2 young men on board is a classic profile case.
You guys got any guns? Okay, we're gonna board you, check your papers.
A radio linked to customs headquarters indicates the agent's suspicions are well-founded.
As the authorities began to crack down on boats going over the seas, traffickers went under the surface. This was the origin of one of the most impressive feats of cartel engineering, the narco submarine. The first narco submarine...
If they have a submarine, can they just go down under the water? On buggy. Si ellos tienen una submarine y ellos están arriba de la agua, ellos no pueden hundirse nada más. It's a submarine, so I'm guessing, pero
were intercepted in the early 90s, but they've surged in use in recent years. They're assembled in underground boatyards hidden in the Amazon, and cartels can spend millions of dollars on each and every one. And that investment seems to be worth it. The largest haul ever seized in a submarine is a staggering 7.7 tons of cocaine, and only a tiny fraction of them are ever intercepted. In 2019, Spanish authorities discovered...
Only a little fraction of them. So de 10 que ellos mandan, nada más se cogen uno, tú sabes. Ellos no pueden, they can't be too suspicious with the money, nigga.
Narco sub that had actually crossed the entire Atlantic from South America to Europe.
Over the last decade, particularly emerging from Colombia, there's been a set of semi-submersibles, a couple of which have been caught by the US Coast Guard, which don't fully submerge but just appear above the water, and they've also been used to take cocaine up the coast and bypass the border.
In the early 1980s, Ronald Reagan amped up the war on drugs with a huge crackdown on the Caribbean smuggling routes. Obviously, this did not end the drug trade because all the traffickers did was switch from air and sea to land and the 2,000-mile US-Mexico border. This is how the war on drugs created the modern Mexican cartel.
Pesadito, dale, nene.
Los carteles que tienen que mantener su gente y todo, tienen que sacar dinero donde hay. Si ya se acabaron sus reservas, pues tienen que buscarlo.
How old are you guys?
Yo tengo 27.
Mexican cartels have used pretty much every method imaginable to transport drugs into the US. From fleets of airplanes to drones and literal slingshots.
Border Patrol agents there, Douglas, Arizona.
Nah, slingshots is crazy. Slingshots is crazy.
The border wall made to chuck bundles of marijuana into American territory. More than 47 pounds of the drug found.
But the crowning technical achievement of the Mexican cartels is almost certainly the narco tunnel. Tunnels underneath the US-Mexico border began to emerge in the early 1990s, but have exploded in use in the 21st century. Hundreds have now been discovered, some of which are thousands of feet long and equipped with electricity and purpose-built rail tracks.
Drug tunnels have been built.
I'm telling you, bro, that's a game that's never gonna end, nigga. Without drugs in the streets, there's no crime. Without no crime, police can't arrest nobody. Without arresting people, the government can't get paid for the people they have in the fucking locked up. There's money everywhere, man. I'm telling you, there's money everywhere, man. That's a game that's never gonna stop,
on the
bro.
US-Mexican border, where they've taken drugs from cities like Tijuana to San Diego. They were developed mostly in the 1990s, and particularly by a very famous Mexican drug kingpin called Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, who famously...
You wanna know something? This nigga wasn't even the head of the Sinaloa cartel, nigga. He wasn't even the head of the Sinaloa cartel, nigga. He was like, what the fuck, nigga? I'm telling. There's always someone under the scene. So accordingly, what they told me was, what I was reading, it's El Chapo got too. He got too. I don't know why. But he wanted to be noticed. He wanted to be too noticeable. The nigga that's on top of him, he wasn't playing none of that shit. So. None of that shit, nigga.
Supermax prison in Mexico by getting mining engineers to build a tunnel and then escaping through that tunnel on a motorbike.
But the vast majority of the drugs that get smuggled into the US don't actually go underground. They come in the same way as most other consumer products, over the border. 35,000 trucks and 200,000 cars cross the border from Mexico to the US every single day. And some of them are full of cocaine, heroin, meth, weed, and fentanyl.
The North American Free Trade Agreement opened up trade between Mexico and the US. So there was a real explosion in drug smuggling over the border between Mexico and the United States during the 1990s. So it wasn't so much finding a needle in a haystack as finding a piece of hay in a haystack. Completely impossible.
Once again, cartels have driven some extreme innovation, smuggling drugs in just about every product imaginable, from bananas to hair extensions. But probably most impressive is the development of the so-called trap car. Cartels have custom-built vehicles with hidden compartments, which can often only be accessed by a very specific sequence of actions.
In the bottom of the center console, underneath the fake bottom, is a switch. Turn it down, nothing happens. But turn it up, and there goes the back seat, revealing a trap containing a stash of contraband.
These so-called trap cars, cars with secret departments in which you can hide fairly large quantities of drugs if you know what you're doing. And a lot of these cars have been developed on the US side of the border to take huge quantities of weapons down south to Mexico, where they're then distributed and sold just as cheaply as you can buy them in a Walmart.
It's crucial to remember that all this impressive innovation is also enabled by the fact that cartels are rich enough to bribe everyone from individual border agents to national presidents. And guess what? Andrew Thornton II, the original smuggler from the Cocaine Bear story.
That's what they were doing with the president of Venezuela back then, nigga. I heard that 70, 80s those presidents. Still now, still them niggas are still corrupt, nigga, but that's crazy.
He actually started his career as a cop.
Thornton was on the Lexington police force for 9 years. He was a narcotics officer between 1970 and 1973.
And of course, there's no reason that drugs like weed and cocaine need to be smuggled in these crazily inventive ways, apart from the fact that they're against the law. So maybe the craziest thing about this...
Yeah, man. I'm telling y'all, bro, this is something that will never end, man. But that's gonna do it for the video, man. If you enjoy these type of videos, let me know. That would be coming all month long, man, you know? But I don't have to say too much, man. Road to 3,000, man. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to y'all niggas later, man. Peace.